From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hello everyone, welcome to OpenLine on Tuesday night. I'm Ben Hall. Good show tonight. We are talking about scams. Scams making their way through Middle Tennessee, scams making their way through Tennessee and across the country, and this system that we have talked about recently by AARP that follows and tracks these various scams. And it's such a valuable thing. We have some information about what scams are being reported. We'll talk about that. And if you have a situation that maybe you stopped, a scam that someone tried to scam you and you stopped it, we hope you'll share it with us. Or maybe if you want to share a situation where you were actually taken, please share that as well. We would appreciate it. I want to introduce our guests. We have with us Shelley Currington from AARP. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for having us.
And Ron Schlogheck, right?
Yes.
So sorry. All right, thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here.
A volunteer, you're a volunteer leader, and basically you've seen how this works at the national level, and you're bringing that back here to Middle Tennessee. Is that right?
Yes, it's quite an expanding program, and it's one of, I guess, the anchor programs for this year that AARP has launched and growing. And our volunteer force, along with the AARP staff, is trying to really get this thing rolling.
Get this thing rolling. We're talking about, and that's Fraud Watch. And describe that for us as best you can. What is Fraud Watch?
So we have, we've launched this, and Fraud Watch is really a way for the consumer to be able to be aware of the scams and frauds that are going on out there, to get regular alerts to do that, and also to be able to have a vehicle to report the ones that they may have gotten a phone call or an email about. So it's two-pronged. It's to be able to educate and inform, but also to be able to share information so that they can protect themselves and loved ones, to be able to recognize some of those common red flags that in the moment, the emotion of the moment, maybe we don't think about, but if we can talk about it more often, then we can remember those red flags and hopefully protect ourselves or a loved one from becoming a victim of a scam or a fraud.
And you were saying this is a national thing AARP is doing, but Tennessee is in the second wave of states. Is that right? I mean,
that is.
We're now kind of the second wave of states is rolling this out.
That's right. That's right. Yes, it is. The Fraud Watch Network is available to anyone across the country, but Tennessee is in the second wave that is really launching this across our state, really digging down into communities. And in fact, we're looking for volunteers that are interested in learning more about Fraud Watch Network, how to educate and inform their community and other people about that. And so we're always looking for good helpers in this.
When you talk about volunteers, and Ron, I'll let you take that. What kind of things? Well, what do you do in relation? I know you wear many hats, but in relation to Fraud Watch, what are some of the things you're doing?
Well, what I'm trying to do, especially with my national leadership program I've been involved in, trying to bring back to the state what other states have done. There's no two states that do it identical. As you know, fraud comes in different colors, and it's very dynamic. It's the kind of thing that what you think you've got a handle on a lot of these things today, 6 months from now, those people out there, they're very ingenious. They're going to introduce new things. Me personally, I've been finding in the last literally few months some things that come close to even trying to dupe me, and I'm pretty well on top of it. But the volunteer brings a lot of things, and the state can use a lot of people to help with this program.
You were saying you're pretty tech savvy, and you're seeing things out there, some of these attempted scams that are getting you almost. I mean, they could easily get you.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're seeing?
Well, a lot has been recently with emails from various sources. Could be from PayPal, iTunes, various banks where Credit cards, of course, is typical, and where you get something that your account's been compromised, or hey, you've just changed something in the Apple iTunes. We need to have you go back and restore your password, as an example. And if you're not real careful, they disguise those web pages, disguise those emails with the logos and everything, so that you think it's real. It's coming from the company. But that's the thing that you always should take a deep breath when you get these things. And if you don't feel confident in investigating it based on your own knowledge, call someone, get someone to help, because once you're taken and exposed from identity theft to an account information, it takes weeks and months and maybe even a part of a lifetime to get things straightened out.
And reading up for this, identity theft is worse than we first imagined even. I mean, the numbers that we are hearing are higher than even those already high numbers that we initially thought we were seeing with identity theft, right? This is a much bigger problem, and we already knew it was a big problem.
Exactly. With everything moving more digital and more online, there isn't that the same safeguards that we had that we grew up with. You know, you do things a certain way. Well, now everything is online and digital, and so we need to learn a new way to protect ourselves. And with everything being online, though, it makes it just easier for one thing to just wipe you out across the board. So from your bank account to your credit cards to your medical information. I mean, there's medical fraud in addition to, I mean, there are so many different ways that this can work that can completely take over a person's life. And like Ron said, I mean, once you are going through this, it takes everything you have to straighten it out, and some people aren't able to straighten it out.
What are some of the things that are being reported? What are some of the things you're seeing right now?
So we have a Fraud Watch map where people can report what is going on. So it is real information that is happening in Tennessee. When you go to the Fraud Watch map as part of the Fraud Watch network, you can click on your state, Tennessee, and so you can get both updates from law enforcement and the Attorney General, and you can also report any type of scams going on in your area. Here is someone reported this one. It's a very popular one. We're seeing it across the state, which is someone calls and says that they're with the local sheriff's department or the police chief's office, and that they have a warrant out for your arrest because you did not show up for jury duty.
Wow, okay.
And so if they need you to pay a sum of money, it is usually going to be under $500, because anything above $500 constitutes a felony. So anything underneath that keeps them underneath that threshold. And so they will ask you for the money in some type of cash card, gift card, ask that you call them back, or give them the number on the back, and so they have instant money. You know,
amazing.
So, and this is so popular. We're seeing it from Memphis to Mountain City. I mean, areas across the state are reporting the same type of scam.
And who do you think that is? And I know you're not an investigator here, but that's interesting to me. So they're calling up saying you missed jury duty, you have to pay a fine. And they're smart enough to realize, okay, it's under $500. Who is that? Is that some teenagers, or is it somebody from, we hear it's overseas in Nigeria or something? Who do you think is doing that?
That's the difficult part. Because it's under that threshold, it's hard to track down who that person is, and right now we don't have a lot of success in tracking them down to prosecute them. So I don't know who it is. It could be a teenager that's looking to make a quick almost $500 several times over. It could be someone just like you or me that just deals on the unscrupulous side of things. Or it could be someone in another country that's doing it. We just don't know. But we do know that this is something that is, if you get a call and someone asks for you to pay them via a cash card that you buy at Kroger or at Walmart, it's a scam.
It's always going to be a scam.
That's your red flag. No one, if it's legitimate, they're going to ask for another way. But honestly, they're not going to call you for a warrant out for your arrest for missing jury duty.
Mm-hmm. But that kind of plays on, well, maybe I missed it. Maybe I overlooked it. That's an interesting one. What else is on there?
Well,
what
I
else
just
stands out?
returned back from Florida last week, and some of my relatives I visited for a day or two had brought up in their area, which is prone to hurricanes and tropical storms, and et cetera, the people that come door to door with some sort of maintenance or clearing, trimming the bushes, trees, and so forth, or even a roof repair. That thing translates into, like when we had floods here, and we'll have more weather-related things over the future. You end up people coming and say, okay, I'm working in the neighborhood, I'm clearing this out, these trees, you got a tree down, your neighbor just hired me, but in order to get priority, we need half the money tonight now, and I tell you, it's a bargain. We can take your 3 trees down for $500, and but we need half right now for you to be on the list to get it done tomorrow, and people will shell out the money, and next thing they'll never see those people again. And especially if you have neighbors that have, quote, done the same thing.
Right, they say your neighbors have done it, and likely they haven't.
Yeah.
And we just had some bad storms move through, and anytime that happens, you got to be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely. So, you want to follow up. You want to call your neighbor that they say that has done this and check with them to see if they have indeed hired someone. If you get a call from the sheriff's department or the police department, you want to call back and verify that they actually did have someone that called you. You want to take those extra steps. A lot of what we hear from our members and other volunteers is that they're hesitant to call law enforcement because they feel like they might be bothering them.
Right.
Well, law enforcement doesn't feel like you're bothering them. They really want to hear from you if these things are going on, because if you let them know and other people let them know, then they can know when something is a bigger deal.
Which is why Fraud Watch is so valuable, because it is this tracking system. All right, we're going to take a break. If you want to call in, there's the number, 737-PLUS. 737-7587. I encourage you to call in with an example, and we can all learn from whatever experience you may have encountered. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.